introduce my cousin, Mr. LaMerle Johnson. He is fresh out the penitentiary for about a week and a half now, and he was gone for almost 21 years. So, without further ado, we're going to watch a video that he put together back in the day before he went to prison. This is when he and I were like teenagers still. Y'all age, matter of fact. To give you a brief little background and synopsis of who this beautiful person is, and after that he's going to talk to you and you'll be able to ask him any questions that you might have or anything like that. So without further ado, we're going to get started.
Ready? Okay, here we go. Set the light for me.
Yeah, you take it. I'll hit the light. Okay.
This is a culmination of a summer-long project by a young man working as an intern at Channel 7. It covers the space of time in which he went from jail to college entrance. And Steve Davis is with us now to tell the story.
Thank you, Anna. I think you will agree that this is unusual television, which I suspect makes it both risky and promising. I'm sure it will be as honest an inside look at our drug situation, as you will have seen. We'll be introducing LaMerle Johnson. LaMerle had become a cover boy for Image magazine by late summer. That's a far cry from where he began in 1989. Last January, LaMerle was in custody and facing as long as 6 years in jail. He was 17 years old and already had a long police record. His history is painfully typical. Father left when he was an infant. Mother later turned to drugs. LaMerle was left selling on the street corners to feed himself and others. I met LaMerle at the Omega Boys Club several months before he became that cover boy. He was on probation then, and there was a compelling honesty about him that he retained in spite of all the things that occurred in his life. My boss agreed to hire LaMerle as a newsroom intern for the summer, and his assignment, it turned out, would be to use his unfortunately thorough knowledge of the so-called drug game to help the rest of us to better understand that world from the inside. This would be LaMerle's series, not our series about LaMerle. He would choose all of the interview subjects, he would conduct the interviews, and he would collect the information with no interference from me or anyone else at the station.
I sell, I distribute, collect. I just live off of it. There's a lot of girls that know me, that want me to help them get into it, but I don't really want to do that. I don't feel that I should help anybody make the money that I'm making. They're getting a cut of my money. That's my money.
How old are you?
21.
When you start? When did you first get involved in the game?
16.
Why did you decide to talk with Susan?
I knew she was in the life. I knew that she was what they call a high roller, but she was different because she's a she.
Why do you think Susan agreed to talk with you?
I told her she would be recognized and voice would be distorted.
I'm not going to be stupid and get greedy and stay in the game and end up getting killed. I see myself coming out real soon, probably within the next year or so. As soon as I save up enough money to have what I want. Because I plan on getting a nice car and a house soon.
And I explained to her, I said, I'm not trying to glamorize what you do, but I just want you to tell the truth. So that basically these people could see the ignorance that is involved in it.
Do you know how many people you're destroying?
Yes.
And you're still happy with this?
Yes. I'm not destroying them. They're destroying themselves. I'm just distributing it. They come to me with something that they want, that I have. They give me their money, I give it to them, and then they go and destroy themselves. Hey, there's money out here to be made. If I don't get it, who will?
A lot of youth are becoming addicted to the money. And that's because they don't see any conventional means for success.
Jack Graves was my group home supervisor in the group home system that they sent me to in January. Last time I was in trouble. I also have to give him credit for where I am today, because he talked to me. Jack was there.
I think basically what's happening is our youth are raising themselves. We have to begin to assume the responsibility and stop putting that responsibility squarely on the shoulders of the youth, because they're children. They don't know what to do, and it's an adult responsibility to teach young people how to be adults.
Come on.
Well, Jermaine is he's my best friend. Omega Boys taught Jermaine that Jermaine was somebody, and just because he came from the streets, that he still could be somebody, that the streets were just the streets, but Jermaine was Jermaine. You going that way, pal? Do you see yourself coming back after your 4 years and trying to help your community?
Yes, I do. Very, very much so. If I didn't, I would feel as though something was wrong with me.
He's been involved in the game, in street life. So much of Jermaine's time used to be spent on negativity, fighting. And he's just a changed person.
No, that's Kiska.
What were you thinking as you walked through that crack house in the projects?
Someone's family in confusion. I seen clothes, refrigerators, mold. I seen a lot of confusion. I seen a lot of heartache. I seen a lot of pain. It was disgusting. Looked in the bathroom. People involved in their life have to live like that. They go through those stages. And it hurts me that they don't know what they're doing. And I got the feeling from the house that someone's kids used to stay in me, a lot of baby clothing. And it really hurts me. An infant, innocent, hasn't done anything to anybody, and yet has this thing inflicted on him.
In order to survive, people need food. Some people need drugs in order to survive, but that's their problem. I'm just selling it to them. They do what they want to do. They kill themselves off. I don't do it. I don't.
First time you and I ever talked in interview, you said that you thought that everybody has a conscience. Do you think that applies to people like Susan?
Yeah, she's real arrogant. I got the impression that she herself wanted to believe that it was right. She herself wanted to justify it. If you sell a pregnant woman crack or see a lady with 3 babies in her hand, you're giving them crack, and you know that this is that child's money to eat, you have to have a conscience. You know how you see TV and the mothers are always talking about, get you a doctor, get you a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Do the mothers say, go get you a drug dealer?
Oh, yeah, they do. Some mothers do. If the drug dealer is giving the daughter clothes and money and buying her, even buying the mother stuff, she doesn't care. But when her daughter comes up dead in a car somewhere, that's when she starts caring.
Let me just give you an example. You have a 22-year-old young man. He's they call with drugs, which is a felony, and he has 2 kids. We go in there and we say, there's a better way. What else can we say?
You can't say it. It's not what you can say. You give them a support system.
A lot of those guys were from different churches, but they can get together at a table and sit up and discuss problems. And so many times people think when black youth get together that it's violence. I was showing them that they can get together and have intelligent conversations.
When you was in YGC and you came out, we gave you a support system. We were there, we was there for you. The Omega Boy stuff was there for me. When I came out of that stuff, they gave me a support system.
And tomorrow, Earl deals with drugs and the family.
We really are the beneficiaries of his story.
I think so, and I think that will be increasingly true as we go through the rest of the movie. Well, his first name is certainly interesting.
A young man.
All right. Lights, camera, action.
How y'all doing? All right, LaMerle Johnson. Yeah. After that series, went off to college, right? Poster board was a success, right? But I went to school and got kicked out because I took the streets to Atlanta, Georgia with me. And I ended up putting a dude through a wall and got kicked out. So when I come back, my support system was gone. So what do you think I did? Huh? I got back in the game. I got back in the streets, right? And it resulted in me spending the last 20 years and 10 months in the penitentiary. That's what happened. That's a long time.
You got locked up for drugs?
I got locked up, for lack of a better way of saying it. I was doing, like, how would I describe it, Jay?
Just say it. Just say it.
Well, kingpin type stuff. I came back, I was intelligent. And when I got in the game, I knew how to structure things, structure people. You know what I'm saying? And when they got me, when they finally caught up to me, they made sure they gave me every bit of what I had coming. I was facing multiple life sentences. I got lucky coming out with just one of them. They ended up giving me life plus 11 years, right? And so when I went to prison, I started appealing and doing all those different things, right? I got some of the time up off of me, but I ended up having to keep the life plus 11. I was just found suitable by the parole board in February of this year, February 5th. And I walked out of prison May 3rd, about 2 weeks ago. So where y'all at?
Good, huh?
Huh?
Feels good to be here.
Oh, it feels great. The air is fresh.
Was that under the AB 109 or no?
No,
Okay.
no.
That was like your second strike or first?
No, that was just me getting the time for the case.
Oh. Well, you plead guilty?
No, I went to trial and lost.
That's a good thing, though.
Got a question?
So after you did all this presentation stuff, you went back to the youth?
Went back to the guy. Well, why? You know, I hadn't really addressed what happened with going to Omega. They took the body up off the hood and dusted it off, right? And so I had an educational background. I could talk. I was, you know, half-assed, articulate, right? So I could talk. But what I hadn't addressed was the things that were going on inside of me, all the hurts and the pains. You know what I'm saying? From the mother not being there, from involved in the drive-bys, the drugs and everything. I hadn't really addressed that. And so when things started happening, right, I came up against a hurdle, which was getting kicked out of school, looking bad. I'm no longer the poster boy no more, right? I'm stuck. What do I do? So I started associating with old bad habits, people I used to associate with, and they said, hey man, welcome back. We cool, we always loved you, we never didn't like you. Here you go. Here go a sack, here go these other things. And I got back in it, full-fledged. I wake up, not wake up, but all of a sudden I look up, and instead of just being part of the structure, I'm running the structure. And you got all these cats that's eating up under me, right? And when you in that type of lifestyle, you ain't just walking up out of it. People are eating now. They driving nice cars and all these things. So I'm running the structure. Where is that going to end up?
Prison,
20 years and 10 months, that's where it's going to end up. You know what I'm saying? And the government, on February 5th, they were in there recommending that I not see the streets ever in my life. They wanted me to die in prison. And I went when I was 22.
So old are you now?
I'm 42.
you don't want that.
I don't, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but I feel that old. I got kids that are grown. My youngest is 21. So when I left, my baby, my infant was 6 months. That's my youngest. But that's what the streets do. That's what I did.
But after the girl, you asked the lady, you know, when the pregnant people walk up to her, what made you go back and do that?
When you're in a certain position in the game, you can pretend, not only, well, yeah, you're stuck, but you can pretend like you don't know that at the bottom of the totem pole is the mother that's pregnant. You know what I'm saying? You could be running the car shops, and not only was I involved in selling drugs, but I was involved in a lot of other stuff too. So you can pretend like you don't know that that's the end result of what you're doing. Because you riding around, you're not curb serving, you're not doing anything like that. Y'all actually, you know, when we do business deals, we doing business deals in restaurants and different things like that. So I can pretend like that don't exist, right? And when you have a fear of dying, because, you know, this can turn into violence, you know, it's real easy to not care about that.
It probably was meant for you to go to prison so you could change, be the person you is.
You know what? I hate to say that, but I actually became a better person by having gone to prison. And so when I try to explain, and it's sad, but I had to become a man. I had to get locked up and confined in that cell because there's nowhere to escape. You're the only person up in that cell. So you got to, the only mirror is going to always reflect on self. So, you know, like when I was doing a typical drug dealer, baller type thing, it's like, okay, you got the lawyers fighting the cases and all this other stuff, and, you know, all this hope. I'm calling on Jermaine and all them to go do different things and stuff. And I could avoid the pain. But after about 3 years, when it became clear that the appeals weren't going to work and that they was going to make me do that life sentence, it was like, wow, man, they serious about this. You know, or when I'm looking at my children come up in the visiting room and my son is asking me, Your pops when you coming home, and I can't give him a straight answer. You know, or my nephews is coming up in situations like y'all, and he don't want to go to school, and he doing his things, and then I'm trying to get back. What do you say? Like, you know, Jermaine wasn't always the Jermaine y'all know. You can imagine, right? But I became a blessing for a lot of the brothers that were with me, so that they didn't go that route. And my hope is that I become a blessing and a lesson to you. Education is the key. Seriously.
It's the
Education
what?
is the key. That's the key. No, it's the key. Seriously. All, you know, I'm gonna say it raw, all bullshit aside, education is the key. Without it, there's nowhere you can't go. And the other thing is, a lot of y'all probably been through some shit. You gotta go address that. You gotta dig it out, you gotta deal with those hurts. Because what happens is, if you fail to deal with those hurts, you can be successful, right? We all see the ball players who make it, or other people who make it, and all of a sudden they self-implode. You be like, what the hell happened? He or she hasn't dealt with their shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you end up getting triggered, right, I don't care how much money you have or nothing, it's gonna come out ugly because you haven't dealt with the ugly in you. And it isn't that the ugly fails to exist, right? It's that you gain tools to process the ugly. Your mother still might be on crack, your father still may be absentee, a whole bunch of other stuff may still be going on. But when you develop that skill set to process it, because it's just a mindset, it's just a perspective. My mama on crack, oh girl, I hope you get off. We laughing, but that's just real talk. That's the best you can do. But if my mom on crack and now I'm just defeated, I can't make it, I can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? All it is just a mind switch. But if you don't have that ability to see it like that, guess what's gonna happen? You'll be on the college campus putting somebody through a wall. You'll be on the college campus where Jermaine is looking for you to avoid you, to prevent you from putting dude through a wall. Getting kicked out, and there goes that cycle. Yeah.
You might have already addressed it, but what's the worst thing about prison?
For me, it was, I had kids. And so, one of the things I always told myself, like you might have called it, the piece that said that my father wasn't there. So, when I was growing up, I always told myself that I wasn't going to replicate him. And so, I was, you know, being a father, I was being a dad. I thought I was, right, by being able to provide. I spent some time with my kids and stuff like that. But when I went to prison, I was absentee, I wasn't there. So I abandoned my children unconsciously. I wanted to be there, but in prison, you can't be there. You know, you can't take your son to the park, you can't do those things, you know. My grandmother died in 2008, that was my heart. You know what I'm saying? I'm in prison like a song would come on and I'm just losing it. But I can't go out on the tier and lose it, because I got these images I gotta hold up, because I'm not trying to be Bubba's girlfriend. Right? But in this cell, when I'm by myself, I'm in pain. You by yourself in pain. Ain't nothing cool about that shit. I don't care with anybody, with image, anything. There's not one person up in there ecstatic about being there. Every person, every single day, no matter what they tell you when they call, collect, anything else, is plotting on a way to get up out of here. And no person plans on going back. They just don't plan to stay out. What's up?
So you got locked up in 94?
93.
93?
I got locked up on his birthday in 1993.
Damn. How does it, like, things have changed since you've been locked up?
Well, my kids were like this, and now I look them in the eye.
No, I'm talking about, like, technology and stuff. Like,
Well, technology exploded. Like, flip phones that barely came out when I went to jail. You know what I'm saying? We still had brick phones, and like, remember that satellite phone I had?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that satellite phone, right? The chip phone, like, but it was like a little bitty briefcase. Right?
The little shoulder strap, and you walk around with it.
I thought I was doing something, right? Man, we was doing all that. Yeah. So, I mean, it changed, but it stays the same.
It's the same thing, it's just different now.
It's just different stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that changes. That changes. But, you know, if I can leave you with anything, it's like this, right? Education is the key. That's your foundation, right? Sometimes sometimes I know you get bored up in here, you get tired, you don't want to listen, right? These adults are telling you this stuff, you're like, I don't want to hear that shit. But the reality is, just listen to it. Get the foundation. Because once you get it, can't nobody take it away. That's yours. You can't take that slick. I got that. And then that opens the doors for other things. Because anytime you go anywhere, somebody's going to ask you, you got a high school diploma, you got a GED, you got any college credits? And when you're able to put that down, that opens up the door. When you're able to process certain information, that opens up doors. And if you don't have that ability to do that, then the door's closed. What you gonna do? Do you always want to be knocking on somebody's door, man, can I get a top one? Can I get a couple noodles? Seriously.
Yeah.
Education allows you to eat. And it all boils down to money. You know, we were having a conversation before you guys came in here, right? It all boils down to dollars and cents. You're gonna pay somebody's bills. You're gonna pay a prison guard's bill because you're the subject. You're gonna be the prison guard. You're gonna pay some taxes somehow. Somebody gonna sell a casket on your ass. You're gonna be in a casket. You're gonna pay a bill. They're gonna generate some type of income with your name on it. So which lane you gonna pick? Which lane you gonna choose? Which lane you gonna get in? It's all about your choice. I was told him, and I'm really serious, one of the businesses that I'm gonna start is teaching people how to go do time. For all the dudes who think, I'm in the game, I got it. Okay, cool. I'm gonna teach you how to get your canteen money right, set you up a trust fund, have your canteen money right. You know what I'm saying? Your phone money right, because GTE Mobile, they want their money. They gotta have it. You know what I'm saying? They want their money when they call play, right? Your lawyer money, I'm gonna teach you how to do it, if that's the route you're gonna choose. Some of y'all might choose that. Thus, I'm paying tax to generate money off. But don't call me when you go to jail, because I told you you should have your money right before, so you shouldn't be calling me for that. For you sisters who want to hang out with the dudes who sell dope, that comes with consequences. Finally going to jail. Your kid's going to be without their dad. You making a choice, though. If you hang out with him, does that make sense? If you choose him, you chose that. So don't cry. It ain't foul ball. You chose that. That's the game. He might come up short. That's the game. What choice you gonna make? And it's a choice. You got a right to choose. Just don't whine when you have to pay the consequences. But everything comes with consequences. Choices have consequences, good or bad. But you gonna choose. So right now, for whatever reason you up in here, you got an opportunity. Let me get this education. Let me put this, cross this T, dot that out. Just go and get it. And don't look at yourself like, okay, I'm inferior because I'm up in here getting it like this. Bullshit. Because once you get the GED, and you go up in there and you get into college, they don't give a damn how you got here, how you perform. How you perform. Because when you run a business, when I ran my little empire, I didn't give a damn how a dude got there. What's the productivity? So when you go work in the legitimate world, what's the productivity? College campus, what's the productivity? You bring them grades? I don't care. The rich kid acting a damn fool. You up in here getting it. All you gotta do is go get it. But if not, you can be like me, having made it, and then fuck up and go do 2010. All right, any more questions?
Mr. Johnson, I'm looking at your presentation. You look neat. Look like you've been out here all along. What would you say to these young men who walk around and try to sag? I'm a big proponent of presentation. I believe the way you present yourself is important. So I keep that bar high for all my students. What would you say to these young guys who think that they can pseudo get away with that?
Well, what would they say? Okay, give me an example. Point one out for me.
Okay, this guy right
This
here.
guy right here. Not to put you on front street though, right?
But wait a minute, let me tell you. He got one test before he graduates. I know he's finna blow up. But I want to make sure we giving him the best take on what this thing is going to be about.
Let me give you a real example, right? It's not even about sagging, right? I just have really long hair in prison, right? So I'm prone to tell pretty boy Ricky I'm trying to do the damn thing, right? Looking good when I go in the visiting room, right? So I go in front of the parole board in 2012, right? I go up in there, pretty boy Ricky, hair is fly, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm finna go get this dick. They looked at me like I was a damn fool, right? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man, right? And I'm a grown-ass man. Man, they tripping on my hair. How you deny me parole by my hair, right? And all my partners, my real partners, will say, man, you need to cut your hair, right? It ain't, you got to go present on their level, right? But I'm rebellious. I'm still rebellious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they denied me 3 years for that rebellious. So I had to go pull another 2 years, right? And then when I had asked permission to go back early, right? But as soon as they granted permission early, we took some clippers out and we cut that long ass hair off. Right? So when you want to get a job, right, and you're trying to be employed but somebody else is employing, right? Damn what you think they should think. They think how they think. Right? And if you want the job to pay your bills, pull your damn pants up. It's that simple. Because the landlord not going to care about your civil rights or somebody's opinion, cultural opinion. Somebody. I want my money. I want my money. And you talking about you can't get a job. I'm on you. Look at me. You know what I'm saying? So I get the fact that you probably ain't gangbang or anything like that. But somebody else looks at it differently. And that somebody else is the one that's writing the checks. So until you get into a position where you writing the checks, you doing it Jay-Z style, and you can make the style, pull your goddamn pants up. That's what I would say to him.
All right. Just long as one me.
All right.
Anybody else got any questions for Mr. Johnson?
Any other questions, y'all? Hey, man.
Did you ever end up using some of your product?
No.
Is that what you used to do?
No. I watched my mother do drugs, right? And I was scared. I was a punk.
You know, there's some people.
I was a punk. I wasn't doing no dope, right? I used to ride Jermaine's helmet because Jermaine used to drink too much. Right? Seriously, right? I was a moralistic drug dealer. Drinking and everything. Represent when you're in this community. Right? So that's what it was. No, but I never did that. But it doesn't matter though, because see, like some people look at the addict like they're lower than, right? The drug dealer is just as low. You addicted just as much, because what happens is, right, you start making that type of money, and you start accumulating debt. You know, like I got houses over here, and I got cars over here, and stuff like that, so I'm addicted to this lifestyle. Because if I go get that 9 to 5, I can't afford this. I can't afford to be wearing these shoes on this type of this, so now I'm stuck. Now see, he might be able to go to a drug rehab. They gonna send my ass to the penitentiary. That's the difference. So just something to think about.
I was wondering, was there a moment while you were in prison, a specific moment when you felt your life was turned around, or was there an individual there, or somebody you saw there you didn't want to be like, you did want to, I don't know.
You know, when it really started hitting me, it comes in stages, right? When they drove me up to San Quentin Reception Center, I was a changed man right then. I was good. I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, oh, hell no, right? Right? And I used to have this saying, right? I used to say, I said, man, this ain't even for the birds. But then OG told me, he said, nah, they can fly up out of here. Right? No, what I would say is, I said, this is for the birds. And then he would say, no, they can fly up out of here. Let me get it right. Right? But it comes in steps and stages and different things like that. My real key was learning to process my past. Like I was an abused kid, my mother used to beat me and different things like that. So, you know, when I went out in the streets, I'm committing mayhem, violence and stuff. It was like, you know, back when we grew up, you know, it's probably similar to what y'all doing. You know, we would talk to handle it with our fists. So we going out there committing violence and doing all type of other stuff. So I had all this anger in me and stuff like that. Stuff I really didn't know how to process. So I could clean up real nice. But then when triggered, I went off. I used to go off, like all bad. It would be all bad. You know what I'm saying? But so I had to learn how to process that. I had to, you know, and it's still a process. It's, you know, you're always in recovery. But until I learned how to process, I was never, you know, I tell people like this. I wasn't free before I went to prison. I was mentally incarcerated. And I see a lot of people out here mentally incarcerated, just mentally in misery. You know, but the key for me is when I learned how to process my stuff. Then I wasn't in jail anymore. Then what had to happen then was I figured out a way to deal with the physical incarceration. get that up off me. So I've been free for some time. But it started right here. It started right here. All right, I'm gonna let y'all get back to y'all studies. Hopefully I gave you something to think about.
Let's get him around, y'all.